I'll start the recording. So I said on Saturday during our introduction that legal writing and drafting and professional ethics has been the most failed subject in the last 2 years, November 2023 and April 2024. No, November 2023 and November 2024. They followed each other in terms of failing. And I have not developed a lot of content for this. In fact, in the website, I've just researched not papers, a lot of papers. So I believe that I want to develop content which is for LWD and professional ethics, and I believe the person who actively participate in this class, every and every class, I can assure they are going to pass. Last in the run up to the November 2024, we had two ladies we were doing classes with them. I did commercial conversing and civil litigation, and they passed their respective subjects. Helen is in the group. You saw what he said, and is going to participate in this class also. So I can assure you that if you actively participate in this class, when I mean about active participation is preparing for the class, doing the work ahead. You prepare, then we come and present. So that is the only way you are going to pass. So legal writing and drafting, we are going to start November 2021. And Nicole sent me her document, which I'm going to project in a minute. Yeah, that is the way, because I don't want to you come here and I lecture you, you listen. Legal writing and drafting is a very practical subject. In fact, there is nothing to, most of the things are to drafting. Yeah, so it is a very practical subject. And then, unless you draft and you said you are drafting, in advance, we cannot be able to I cannot tell you bill is drafted this way, amendment do this, then you have not done. It is a very, very, very practical subject. So yeah, that is it. I want to project a document before we start, which I usually share before every exams, which is called Doing by Exams. Yeah, Doing by Exams guide. So these are some of the tips I have gathered through my many years of doing this research and these classes, and I'm going to go directly to what will be related to this subject. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah. So exam is 3 hours. So except 12 p.m. So the first 15 minutes, you should read the question and choose the one you will do. So you cannot usually go to the exam room and see some student writing after they have been told to start. Unashindwa, what are they writing? And they have not read the question. So the first 15 minutes, you read the question and choose the one you will do. Of course, you avoid one questions because there are 6. You do the compulsory with 20 marks and the other 4. which is 10 marks each. So for compulsory question, 20 marks, use 50 minutes. So this is what I usually recommend, and this is what we shall be looking when you are drafting. Then for the other 4, you can use 25 minutes, which is 10 marks. So if it is a question of 5 marks, I accept you to use around 12 minutes, 12 and a half or 13 minutes. So the last 15 minutes, you proofread your question and finish the question you did not answer. So time yourself, write after every question. If you have not finished, go to the next. So the last 15 minutes you used to finish the question that you did not answer. So remember, not answering compulsory question asks you 0 marks. That's very, very important. Yeah. So when you read, when you this way the exam exactly, because you are doing everything. I'll jump some of the things. We are going to do this in the last class, when now we are preparing Kabisa for the exams on the tips. But for the purposes of the drafting that you are going to be doing and sending me, I want to see the time taken. So you for compulsory question, use 50 minutes. For the other 10 marks question, use 25 minutes. For 5 marks question, use 13 minutes. So if you read a question that you don't understand, most likely you are not, there's something you are missing. So the marks should guide you how much you should write. The more marks means the more writing, answering. When you are told step by step, do step by step. When you are told to advise, let your advice be procedural. When you are told to compare and contrast, so to give advantage and disadvantage of each. So a question may have so many things being asked in it. Make sure you answer all what is asked to get maximum answers. So start a question with introduction. Let your points flow. Start with the definition, then the law. Use IRAC where possible. Issue, rule of law, application. When you are told to discuss or explain, etc., do not state your point. Discuss. So use point form. This is very, very important. If the question is 5 marks, do 5 points. Of course, if the question is not drafting. If it is 10 marks, not in form of paragraphs, point form, because markers you make them mark well. Make sure you drafting during exams. So do a rough structure, because if you start actual drafting and you miss a structure or content, you cannot undo. So you must first of all do a rough structure. If it is a bill, there is a way that it looks. When you for example, you don't put the constituting parts of the bill, the main parts. For example, where you are forming a board and the board members and everything. So if you miss that one, you cannot undo. So it's good to always to do a rough structure before you start. Repeating the drafting, which will be a waste of time, and neatness of the answers. So if you don't figure out the content and structure in your draft and have no idea or not sure, do not do the question. Of course, for purposes of the for this what we are doing, we are going to be doing every question. Be creative to make your drafted document to be excellent. This is very, very important. Creating your own facts. So there are questions you can find that you don't have the facts and you need to draft. So you can become creative with your own facts. Not all facts are usually provided in a question, but ensure do not divert to the substance of the question or create a conflict between your creative facts and facts provided in the question. So you add more meat in your facts to make a drafting well, and we are going to look practical, but don't divert from the substance of the question. Yeah, marks would guide you how long your drafting should be. E.g., a question of 20 marks compulsory may require you to draft at least 2 long documents and substantive documents like a notice of motion, affidavit. Yeah, but if it is a question of 5 marks, draft only one document, one short document. Date your drafted document the day of the exams was done, and remember to yeah. So that is it. The other, for the purposes of this class, that is what I wanted you to nini to have a look. I do that introduction. So we start with the question of the day. So we are going to be doing for today. We are going to do question 1, 2, and 3. Then we are going to increase the momentum as we continue. So at any given time, if you have a question, you can interject. Be free to interject. So now I want to project the paper, legal writing and drafting, November 2021. So the other research I have done year 2009 to 2018, they are on the website, and June 2021. But after we got until November 2024 paper, we are going to look at some aspects of that paper, of some aspect of those previous papers. Yeah. So on your screen, I want to share. It's November 2021 paper. Here, this did not have best and worst performing answers of the student. And it was one of not a very easy paper. Yeah. So legal writing and drafting have 3 parts. There is legal writing, where they usually test you on legal writing components, like writing just good English, paragraphs and all those things, active and passive voice. Then there is legal drafting, which they test you on drafting legal documents, like affidavits, yeah, like deed polls, and all those and many other documents. Then there is legislative drafting, where they test you on how to draft the bills, amendment to the bills, regulations. We are going to deal with all these documents. Yeah, I'm going to ensure that we are going to draft so many documents as possible. So after this, we are going to revert. Yeah, year 2008 to 2019, Part B has a lot of drafting we are going to do, which we did not do, which I did not draft, which was for the purposes of these, for the purposes of this question, this online classes. because even if I draft a document for you, the other question are very different from drafting. The other question you can read and cram from the question of the research for the researcher, but a drafting is a skill obtained over time through drafting as many documents as possible, and that is the purposes of this what we are going to do in February and March. So I'm going to read this question. Question 1, November 2021. So, Mr. Tony Zolo, a striker at Cape Town Football Club. During the football season that concluded in June, he was the top scorer at the football club and the South African Premier League. His scores in the tournament and Cape Town club immense fame and profits. Mr. Zolo is, however, seeking to play football for a different club, especially one outside Africa. Mr. Dan Carlos, Zolo sports agent, has successfully negotiated a deal with the Nairobi Football Club, situated in Kenya, for the services of his client. The football club is an upcoming club and has just qualified for Kenya Premier League season that commences in January 2022. Nairobi Football has agreed to purchase the services of Zolo at Kenya shillings 25 million. In addition to, Nairobi Football has agreed to pay Mr. Zolo a salary of 150,000 per month. Mr. Zolo has agreed to the terms of the survey and has also proposed that he entitled to the separate endorsement deals above and beyond those of Nairobi Football Club, owing to his successful career and popularity. However, Zolo is not opposing to engaging in any promotional activities on behalf of Nairobi Football Club. The Nairobi Club has engaged you as your legal representative in this transaction. Advise the Nairobi Football on the necessary steps that the club would need to take to secure the services of Mr. Zolo. 10 marks. Yeah. So, that is a question. So I want you to hear your trials. I'll go sequentially. How do you understand? Because I showed you the reasoning is very, very important. How you reason, how you understand the question, even before you answer it. So I'll start with you, Wakiaga.
Well, Wakili, when I read this,
Yes.
Two things came into my mind. One,
Yes.
I looked at the club that Tony Zolo is leaving, and I was asking
Yes.
myself a question.
Yes.
Is there a contract that this guy is actually ceding? And then there's an agreement that they need to make for them to release this guy. And on this other side also, I also looked at it from the point that there need to be a contract between himself and Nairobi Football Club. But because, and then when we went further to paragraph 3, I looked at the 25 million. Now my dilemma was, this 25 million, is it payable to the club which is leaving for him to be released, or is paid to him as lump sum? That is where I was somehow getting stuck.
So Nairobi Football Club has agreed to purchase the services of Mr. Zolo at 25 million. Yeah. So that means the club is going to be paid. Then his salary will be 150,000 per month. I think if you interact with those Premier League, English Premier League, although I'm not a very good fan of football. You see this, usually say there is this transfer, this what they are buying they are buying footballers. So the club is usually paid. So that this is the same thing. And by the way, this is not necessarily a very regulating and drafting question necessarily. So don't worry so much if you are not be able. Such kind of questions, especially part A, and are very don't come necessarily most of the time. In fact, this kind of a question has never been tested again. Yeah, Diana.
Wakili, my thoughts are,
Mhm.
sorry I took long to unmute. My
Don't
thoughts
worry.
are that from the Cape Town Football Club that Mr. Zolo was in,
Mhm.
as an advocate of Tony Zolo, I have to draft a discharge.
Mhm.
Those are just my thoughts, Wakili. You will correct me where necessary.
Mhm.
We have to draft a discharge
Mhm.
that the football club based at Cape Town is releasing Mr. Zolo at an amount of 25 million. Then we do a contract of employment or a contract of service with the Nairobi Football Club,
Mhm.
whereby we agree that Mr. Zolo will issue his services to the Nairobi Football Club, whereby he shall be paid an amount of 150 per month and other things. So, Wakili,
Mhm.
those are just my thoughts.
Mhm.
And also, he shall be
Mhm.
involved in promoting activities on behalf of the football club. I think those will be part of the clauses that will be in my contract.
Mhm. Now, you see this question, This question, you see, there's something I did not tell you when, there's something I did not tell you. You see, when you are reading questions in an exam, let's say that you are answering, it's part of my guide to answering the bar exams, which I did not read that point. You must read all the parts before even you start answering. So read part A and B, because part B talks about prepare one of the necessary documents that will effect the transfer of service from Zoro from his current employer. So they would effect the transfer of services. That is the drafting, That is the drafting part. But this question is asking you the necessary steps that would need to take to secure the services of Mr. Zolo. So this question is asking you about the preparatory steps that you need to be asked, you need to do before even you draft the document. Yeah. So that is a differentiation on the question. Yeah. So let me share. Nani drafted did the question, which is very good. This is what I want. When we are when I want to project the Nani answers. Yeah. So Nicole did the question. So you can see on your screen, these are Nicole answers to the question. This is what I want. You try as much as possible. You do your questions and send me in advance. So this shows a lot of great effort. 16 pages of this document. Unless you do the question practically, that you will not need, especially drafting question. I'm insisting on drafting. Theory you can prepare and just say you just speak here. But those that need to be drafting, very important. But if you can do everything, good. This is what will make someone to pass. So Nairobi Football, we have to draft a letter of offer to Mr. Zolo, indicating a need to seek his services. The service fee, they are also willing to pay monthly remuneration, the task, and the allowance will be expected to adhere to the appointment when the role is to start. Yeah, they will have to await a response from Mr. Zoro, having provided strict timelines and acceptance of the offer, which must be through signing of the letter of offer. Of course, this is a very difficult question, and this was a good trial. I want to project my answers. I had started to do this question I had started to draft these answers to these questions sometimes back, and this is what need to be done. Which, of course, I've said this is not necessarily a legal writing and drafting question. It may not come again. This, especially part A. So don't worry so much if you don't if you don't get. These are those. In fact, I think this was an emergency paper. So the Nairobi Football Club is a buying club. Yeah, which now it must approach the first step. It must approach the selling club, which is Cape Town Football Club, with the details of the player they want to buy for and how much. So that is where Nicole is talking about offer letter. Yeah. So then step number 2, once the terms have been agreed, the association representing the selling club, in case of Zolo, the South African, must confirm the player's identity. So in these protocols of buying and selling clubs, the associations, the National Football Association must be involved. So the South African Football Association must confirm the player's identity in the FIFA ITMIS, International Transfer Matching System. So that is something that is developed with the FIFA. Once that confirmation is placed, FIFA will allow the process to continue. So the transfer of national players nationally, FIFA must be involved. Next step 4, the association representing by club, the football FKL, Kenya, which is Kenya, requests international transfer certificates from the selling club. Step number 5, the selling club association either delivers the 80s or rejects the request. Yeah, if it delivers, the buying association must enter the player's registration date in ITMS. The player becomes eligible to pay for his new club. His new club completes the payment to the selling club and uploads the receipt to ITMIS. So that is step number 6. Assuming the negotiations transfer runs smoothly, the player will usually, but not always, speak to the new manager to find out which role and style of play exactly. The final hurdle will see the player arrive at the new club's training ground for medical checkup, for club media, and interviews. Zolo, being an international player moving to Kenya, a work permit will be needed to be guaranteed by Kenyan government and sought by Nairobi Football. So then the last step is, once the permit is out, it will be actually signing of the contract between Zolo and Nairobi Football Club. So those are the steps. You break down your steps to get your 10 marks. So this is question not necessarily a legal writing and drafting question. So don't worry so much about this. So next question, prepare one of the necessary documents that will reflect the transfer of services between Mr. Zolo from his current employer. So, yeah. So now this is where now the substantive legal writing and drafting question comes. So, of course, the document that is it is called a professional football player employment contract. Nairobi Football. For example, I told you Zolo has been given one name in the question. You can give him another name. First name, second name, even, yeah. So that is what I was telling you, you fill in the facts. So, yeah, before we look at my answer, I can project Nicole answer. So I hope you can see the projection. So first of all, you give the document a heading. So here, yes, is a contract. What kind of a contract is this? So it must have a, yes.
I was conflicted as to whether I should name it as a player contract or an employment contract. So I just left it as contract.
Yes, that's why I'm now guiding you.
Okay.
A contract is a very general word. So you give it even an employment contract, or a professional football. In fact, the correct word is professional football. Professional football player employment contract between Mr. Zolo and Nairobi Football Club. So you start with the parties. Nairobi Football Club, PO Box, Nairobi, herein referred as and the employer. Very good. Tony Zolo have identification number. Gmail, PO Box, employee. No. Does a professional footballer really become an employee of the club? Nicole, I'm on you. For example,
yeah.
For example, if which team do you know love in Kenya or outside?
I think outside I'd go with Manchester United.
Okay, Manchester United. Which one player do you know?
I don't know any. I just know the name. I'm not a football fan.
Also, I'm not a football fan, But just think about this: when Cristiano Ronaldo was was playing for Manchester United. Was he really an employee?
No.
Yeah. So he's not an employee. He's a professional footballer.
Well guided.
Yes. So you call it a professional footballer. The employer?
Question, Mwalimu, before you
Yes.
proceed.
Yes.
Now that we understand these people are not employees,
Yes.
isn't this status also dictating the title of the contract? Because at some point we said a professional player employment contract.
Yes.
So does it mean that on the title there now we need to remove that term employee? And I mean employment, and maybe we can just leave it as a contract for service. Then we describe the kind of service that is being offered there.
Yeah, that's a very good question. That is a very good observation. Yeah. So you remove the word. In fact, it's a contract for service. So you are giving service. You are not. You are not generally an employer. So here, Nairobi Football Club, you are going to call it as who now? Wakiaga.
Now, Nairobi, now this should be the, don't know whether to use the term vendor.
No, you can't
Would
use
that
the
suffice?
vendor. No, it
What if
cannot.
we say a contractor?
No,
Or
contractor cannot.
contractor?
It cannot.
Okay.
Yes. But if I remember when I was doing this doing this question, when I was researching, I found that clubs usually employ the footballers, but it's a service. You cannot call them an employee. What do you think?
Actually, they are not employees, but clubs have got employees, but players do not form part of the employees.
So I've asked ChatGPT, does clubs employ footballers? Yes, football clubs employ footballers. Clubs sign players to contracts to represent them in competition. These players are typically paid salaries, and their contracts often include terms related to duration, performance, and other aspects. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mwalimu,
Mm-hmm.
just a thought.
Mm-hmm.
Can we, for the bit for the employer, is it possible to amend it to the club? And then for Tony's part, instead of using employee, amend it to the player.
Player. So this term called player, we are going to be used everywhere.
Yeah. And then now as a definition for, basically a definition for Nairobi Football Club now would be the club.
Mm-hmm.
And then for
Yeah.
Zolo, we use the player.
Yeah. In fact, So in my drafting, I used parties. Mr. Zolo, the player, Nairobi Football, the club. Yeah, so that is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I used when I was drafting. But is it an employment? We are still there. Is it an employment contract?
If we change the parties, then I want to believe, based on the explanation you've given and how Dana and Wakiaga have addressed the question, we won't now go with an employment contract. I think it will just remain as a contract for service.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I've also asked ChatGPT, what kind of contracts do footballers sign with the clubs? Footballers typically sign employment contracts. Yeah. So they are employment contract, because remember, in your if you have done your contract, the difference between contract for service, which is employment, and contract of service, which is employment, and contract for service, which are dependent contractors, they are not within the control. The dependent contractors are not within the control of the employer. And an employment contract, we are paid a salary. But a dependent contractors, they are not paid a salary. They are paid a fee. For example, an advocate is not an employee of the client. Is hires services. So because these people are paid a salary at the end of the month, and they are controlled by the club, is an employment contract. But you don't use the word employer and employee, use the word the player and professional, player and club. Are we together?
Yes, we are together.
So we go back there. I'm looking at Nicole drafting. So of course, if it is an employment contract, of course there are terms which are very, very key. Of course, the parties which you have dealt with. Then we are going job title. The employer here appoints the employee. The club, we have said we amend these terms. The clubs hires the player as a striker and shall duties and responsibilities that come with the said position in a professional manner. Duration of the contract. The contract shall commence in January and shall continue for the premiering period. So within care, the contract shall be renewed in writing. Compensation. A sum of Kenya shillings 150 shillings shall be payable to the employee. Yeah, subject to statutory deduction. Already this is given in the question. You'll be paid 150,000. So you don't give your own facts there. Yeah, service fee. The employer shall pay Kenya shillings 25 million as service fee to acquire the services of the employer. So remember, we said that this 25 million is not being given by the employee. Is not given to the employee, to the player. It is the selling club which gets the 25 million. Yeah, Cape Town Football Club, to be able to sell. And I think this is the same thing that happened in the English Premier League. So other engagement, the employee shall be entitled to separate independent. So this clause 4 is not relevant. Other engagement, the employee shall be entitled to separate independent investment. This separate from those of the employer, save that do not strain the relationship productive of the employer to the employee. Yeah, so this is given in the question. The player shall be entitled to 21 days annually and shall be allowed to carry out forward the season he does proceedings. Termination. The employer may immediately terminate this contract by giving the employee a 30 days written notice and vice versa. The employee may terminate the contract forthwith and without notice in case of gross misconduct. Severity, the parties agree to strike out or amend according and part clause this contract may be proved invalid. Severity clause. So, yeah, acceptance by the player. I have read the condition offer and serve terms and conditions set out. So you put the name here and you date the date of the exams, which is November 21, 2021. In witness whereof, player, club. Yeah. So time taken, you reduce your time to around 25 minutes so that you can be perfect in drafting. This drafting is not is good. You just need to improve because it has captured most of the clauses in a contract, which is the job duration, compensation, service fee. Yeah. So I can project what I had said.
Question, Mwalimu, before you
We see
proceed.
if you can. Yes.
Question, how
Yes.
critical is it to include the name and the address of the advocate who has drawn and prepared the contract on the first page?
The name. Okay. For civil litigations and criminal litigation, the documents that are drawn and filed by, you file in court. That's why you put drawn and filed by and to be served upon. Unaona? But for legal writing and drafting documents, you don't need to put the name of the advocate. Are you together?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's why we put that in criminal civil litigation because they are filed in court. But for this is okay. Provided this is a question of 10 marks. So you put like 5 clauses. You put like 5 clauses, and then you do the part of signing, the execution part. Very, very important. Like the 6th clause. And you are good you are okay. So yeah.
Wakili, could you
I had
kindly
tried to
please repeat on the drawn and filed by? My call dropped.
I'm saying
due to
internet issues. I'm
internet
saying
issues.
yeah. I'm saying drawn and filed by is not necessary for legal writing and drafting questions. Drawn and filed by is usually put in criminal and civil litigation because you are drawing and filing in court. Then you are serving to the advocate on the other side. Unaona? So if you are told you are the legal representative, draw this contract in legal writing and drafting, you don't need to say drawn and filed by. Because it's drawn and filed, you draw and file in court, then you serve. Are you together?
Yes, yeah.
So, yeah, So I hope you can see my screen. This is what I had tried to do. So professional football player employment contract between Tony Zolo and Nairobi parties. You describe the parties, which Nicole did. That is the first clause. You don't need to put definitions for purposes of exams. Definitions you put in bills. Definitions are very, very important in bills. You must remember section clause 2, section 2, where you define terms. Very, very important. But for this kind of a contract, you don't need. So the effective term of contract. Description of the work. So what is this player employed to do? The player is employed as a professional football. The main task, training, participating. But if you say that he's just playing as a striker, as Nico, that is okay. So working time, duration of time. The player will commence full-time employment. The duration of working hours as per basic accumulated working hours is 40 hours per day. Yeah, club training and FKL match schedules. Yeah. So how will be compensated? Very, very important. Wages, insurance, and other fees. The monthly gross salary subject to relevant statutory deduction, because said that wages are paid when you can include that clause. Bonus is the employer entitled to leave? He called it leave or holiday. That is very, very important. Yeah. So 20 calendar days annual leave. Obligation of the clubs to pay the player wages on time, to ensure obligation of the player. Gambling and match fixing. You don't engage in gambling and match fixing. So this advertisement and representation rights. This is very, very important because it's a direct question from the facts of the question. So the player must participate in a marketing activities established by the club which have the purpose of promoting and advertising football club. The player must wear the outfit established by club at advertising event. At the event, the player shall demonstrate his commitment to the club and to act his best to increase the club reputation. The player grants the club the right to use, authorize that person to use football photos of the player and audio visuals. Disciplinary rules. The club would prepare internal disciplinary rules. Expiry, suspension, and termination of the contract. Yeah. So I think most of the clauses have been captured by Nicole, and I did think this question part B you could have answered. You could have gotten at least marks that will enable you to pass the exams. So you this question you understand the content. Yeah. So we go to the next question. I'll share the screen. So, question 2, November 2021. A continuous thread runs through the Constitution of Kenya 2010 and insisted on accessibility of language to the ordinary person. Assuming that the authoritative constitutional scholar made the statement above, discuss the criteria you adopt to rate the accessibility of Kenya 2010 constitutional to the ordinary reader. 10 marks. Yeah. Also, this is not a very common question per se in legal writing and drafting. has never been. It is highly unlikely to come in an exams, but here it is. So, yeah, Wakiaga, what do you understand with the question?
Well, the question, in my understanding, is about the plain English. So what the thread is actually about legalese, and we are expected to discuss the statement vis-a-vis the plain English, the benefits and the demerits of that strain, and what we can do, how we can convert that to the understanding of the common person. That is how I understood it.
Diana?
Mwalimu, my interpretation to the question is about the use of simple English where in the drafting of the 2010 Constitution, and probably the use of gender neutral language in the Constitution of 2010 compared to how the previous Constitution was. That's my thought.
So, both of you have almost the same answer. Now, if you are answering the question, what will be your answers? Wakiaga?
Well, my answer would be that I would give what is the requirements of plain English. How is supposed to be, all those characteristics which are listed there, concise, short, all those. I would actually give a recommendation that we, instead of that kind of thread that has been running into the Constitution, we need to amend the Constitution to adopt the plain English for the purposes of access to the document.
Remember, these are 10 points, eh? These are you need to give 10 points, eh? Diana?
Actually, the 10 points have disappeared from my brain, but I tend to think what is, just as Wakiaga said, what is needed is the characteristics of the plain English and the use of just the simple English that the common mwananchi or the common citizen can understand, which have been incorporated in the 2010 Constitution.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's my thought. That's my thought.
Yeah. So, that I'm projecting Nicole's answer. So this question, the words here, remember the question, the Constitution 2010 is already written. So the question is asking you on the 2010 Constitution is written. How do you assess that this ordinary person, yule mtu ako kwa, remember the ordinary person in the street, mtu ambaye hajasoma, can be able to assess the 20, can be able to read and understand the 2010 Constitution. So that is what the question is asking you around. What are the methodology to assess that the ordinary person in the street can understand the 2010 Constitution? Yeah. So number one, question 2. Analyze whether there is use. I'm reading answers given by Nicole. Whether the basic words, for example, is aware of the above amend according to the ordinary reader. And to assess whether there is use of Latin. Have Latin words. So this answer now was not.
Limo, you're breaking. I don't know if it's a problem from my end.
He's breaking.
He is actually breaking. I'm not hearing anything. Is Mwalimu talking?
No, he's not.
Confirm the same.
Of course, it's not a very easy question, but for example, answer number one, clarity of the language. Whether the language that is used in the Constitution is clear. Plain language was used in the section. The jargon, the legal terms, whether they were used, which may not be very clear to the general population. Remember, legal jargons are for the lawyers. That is on language and terminology. Structure and layout. How was the constitution organized? Is it organized in a simple and logical for the leaders, for the ordinary person? Heading and subheadings. The heading and subheadings that have been used. In fact, I can take my constitution here. Are they simple to the ordinary mwananchi? Fourth and thing. Font size, spacing, readability. Is it good? Is it clear? Is it simple? So number 3, point number 3 now. Language and accessibility. Has the constitution been done in local languages, in Kiswahili? I saw someone in one of the groups that I am in has translated the constitution into Luo and is selling. Point number 4, educational and informal support. Are there public outreach programs to help the common person to understand the constitution? Educational programs in written, audio, in local radios, TV, local stations, commentaries and guides. Civic education. Another point, impact and relevance to ordinary readers. Does the constitution apply to them on a day-to-day basis? Their daily lives, their rights. Another point, technology and online resources. Is it digitally accessible? Online. Are there interactive platforms where people can ask questions about the constitution? Another point, comprehensive and depth. Is the constitution now lengthy and cumbersome to the ordinary reader? Remember, ordinary readers do not, are not like lawyers. They don't like a lot of reading. So that is some of the answers one ought to have given in this question. Yeah. The question, the chances of it coming again in exams, very unlikely. But it is good to be able to know the answer. So we are going to go to our last question of the day. Question 3, November 2021. And I'm going to read. The most important skills that marks out a good lawyer is ability to let me project. The most important skills that marks out a good lawyer is the ability to effectively communicate. Anonymous. Identify what aspects in the following statement prevents effective communication and write them accordingly. So these are practical questions. This is legal writing, drafting question. So Wakiaga, what do you think?
Well,
A.
my understanding of the question, my understanding is that the sentences given there are in legalese, and we are expected to rewrite them in plain language. That is how I've understood it.
Okay, now
so it means we are going to follow the rules of plain English writing when rewriting them.
So I want you now to you do practically. You do question A. There is a case law for proposition that use of restriction are not always strictly enforced when a lease is assigned by the tenant in bankruptcy and property question is not part of a shopping center. So what question? So this is a question of 2 marks each. So you start by what is along with this question? You say it, then you rewrite it. For you to earn 2 marks, 2 marks. Yeah. I'm on you still.
Well, one, the sentence is very long. We can get a way of making it shorter, maybe reducing cutting it into 2. And then one of the rules in plain English is they tell us that you avoid the ION, like the term proposition. There is a case law for the proposition that use restrictions are not always strictly enforced when a lease is assigned. A lease is assigned by a tenant in bankruptcy, and they're very small, and the property in question is not part of a shopping center. So the first thing we need to do is to get a way of constructing a sentence by avoiding the use of the terms which have got the ION at the end, the proposition, the restrictions. Yes. And then another rule that is there is that we are advised to use, is it the first person singular?
Yes.
So I may not be able to construct it, but those are some of the rules that I see in the first question that have been violated and need to be corrected.
Yeah, very good. That is wrong.
Walimu, you're breaking.
So, I'm breaking.
Yes, you're breaking.
You can try. Diana?
Actually, you are now clear.
Okay. Sasa,
Yes,
Diana?
mwalimu.
So I want to, with that guidance given by Wakia, I want to make a try.
Mwalimu, let me rewrite it, then I will read what I've written to the group.
That's why I like you do everything, yeah?
Pardon?
Yeah, that's, I'm saying,
You're breaking?
that's why I want, I'm breaking. I'm now clear.
Yeah, you are.
So I'm saying that's why I want this question, do them practically and send me before the class, eh?
Okay, I get it.
So now the answers given by Nicole. So Nicole, this question has two parts. It is asking you what is wrong with the sentence. So that is 1 mark. Then before even you write. Are you getting?
Yes, we are getting you.
Yeah, Nicole, you are getting me?
Yes, I am, but you're breaking. I don't know if it's a problem from my end.
No, okay.
Although right now you are clear.
Yeah. You be telling me. So the question number A, you have not said you have not said what's wrong with the answer. You have proceeded to state you have proceeded to write it. So there you miss 1 mark. There is a case law for the proposition.
May I kindly interrupt?
Sorry, yeah?
I wrote like, okay, basically I indicated the bit on what will be,
Logical structure. Logical
yeah.
structure. Oh, logical structure. So you explain what is logical structure. You say that the answer, the sentence is logically arranged. When you say logical structure, the marker will not understand what you are saying. Are we together?
Yeah.
You say logical structure and explain. So that is where you earn 1 mark. So there is a case law for the proposition that use of restriction is not strictly enforced where a lease is assigned by the tenant in bankruptcy or where property in question is not part of a shopping center. So this sentence of yours, what I can see, what you have, in fact, you have added words. You have added this word here, where this one which you can see my class, see that is correct. You have added 1 word.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're being tested on it, Rigo writing this drafting of sentences, most of the times they usually test you on things to do with the legalese, as Nani have said, legalese, active and passive, unaona, propositions, shorter sentence, yeah, clarity, what we call word wasting items. So as you can see, yeah, plain English. You can see this is ATP revision. Maybe I think you have it. So, characteristic of plain English: avoid archaic words. This is what they usually test. Use normal English words that are used to in day-to-day communication. Avoid legalese. This is what they usually use. Active voice, not passive. Yeah, the person ate. The person Nico ate food. That is active. Not food was eaten by Nico. Omit surplus, unnecessary words. So when you are doing this, you shorten the words. You don't lengthen them. Avoid compound constructions. Compound construction use 3 or 4 words to do the work of 1 or 2 words. So instead, at the point in time, use the word when. Instead of by means of, use by. Avoid word wasting idioms. So the fact that the defendant was young may have influenced the jury. So start with the person. The defendant youths, that is word wasting items. The defendant youth may have influenced the jury. Avoid redundant legal phrases, null and void, and all those things. You know them. Yeah. I was just guiding you before we go to the substantive questions. So this is what I would say as my answer, without amending the meaning. There is a case law. So for the proposition that you avoid that, there is a case law. There is a case law that use of there is a case law that restriction, so you avoid for the proposition, are not always strictly enforced. When a lease is assigned by the tenant, when a lease assigned to a tenant in bankruptcy, and the property you avoid in question, then you say the property is not part of a shopping center. So you are going to avoid some words here, like for proposition. Yeah. What I've said, you are going to avoid some question. There is a case law that there is a case law that restrictions are not always strictly enforced when a lease assigned to a tenant in bankruptcy and the property is not part of a shopping center. Are we together? We are together?
Yes, we are together.
Yes, we are.
So number B, Miss Norman, during the course of struggle to provide for her children, accrued considerable debt to her family and others. Wakiaga do a trial. So what is wrong with the sentence and you do a trial?
It's tricky, but let me look at it.
Mwalimu, can I try?
Let Wakiaga try first, eh?
Okay.
We go sequentially. What is wrong with the question, with the sentence, and you do your nini?
One, there is a use of unnecessary words in this sentence. There are some words that we can omit and we still come up with a strong sentence.
So that
which
is
maintains
correct.
the meaning. And another word, during the course of considerable debt for her family and others. And that also leads to the sentence being too long. We can shorten it.
Yeah, of course, when you remove the archaic words, it becomes shorter. Which are these words? Or you can do now the trial.
One of the words that you can remove is considerable. Yes, we can do away with the considerable. Okay, Miss Norman, during the word the course, during the course of her struggle, we can actually talk about Miss Norman in her struggle to provide for her children accrued debt to her family and others. Yes.
Correct. So you are made during the course, and you omit considerable debt.
Yes, I omit during the course of.
Yes.
Miss Norman, in her struggle to provide for her children, accrued debt. This considerable is not necessary. Accrued debt to her family and others.
Yes. So during the course, these are just archaic words, eh? And considerable debt is debt. Considerable does not add any meaning, eh? So yeah, that is the correct answer. So Nicole, you are that the sentence lacks elegance and correct punctuations. That is not the answer is long. That is the correct answer. The answer is long and he has used archaic words. So Miss Norman, in course of in order to provide for her children, accrued death to her and her family. So you remove this considerable and in course of a struggle. So that is the correct answer. So this was not right. Testimony was heard from the plaintiff and from 3 witnesses on behalf of the defendant. So Diana, what is wrong with the sentence? And you rephrase it. You write it again. You rewrite it again.
I think the sentence is long, it's lengthy. And we can remove some words to make it short and simple to be understood. So how I will rewrite the sentence, I'll state that the plaintiff and the defendants, 3 witnesses, testified.
Repeat again.
The plaintiff and the defendants 3 witnesses testified.
It has lost. The first part of the answer is correct. You can use active voice, eh?
Yeah.
So start with the plaintiff, and also you can shorten it, eh? This question is this has how many words? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah. So, but what you are saying is it is not logically correct. It is losing some meaning. Eh?
Okay.
Can you repeat again?
Okay, let me try to correct. So we have the defendant, the plaintiff. The plaintiff testified, and the 3 witnesses testified on behalf of the defendant.
So how many words are those?
Let me write the plaintiff testified. Just a minute.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 12 words, still long.
12 words, you have make it shorter. You have made it shorter with 3 words. So what about the plaintiff testified? That is 3 words, eh?
Yes.
And then defendants?
3 witnesses testified.
Yes. You can even include the word also testified. Also testified. How many words are those? The plaintiff testified, and then defendants, 3 witnesses testified. Yeah.
1, 2, 3 witnesses testified. They are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 words.
8 words. So that is a correct. So you have removed the you have make it shorter and shorter. So
question, Mwalimu.
Yes.
Supposing we omit the double use of testified by simply saying the plaintiff and 3 defendants' witnesses testified. Would that statement be correct?
No, it will not be correct because, repeat again. Repeat. Hello? You can hear
I'm
me?
saying, yes, I can hear you now. What I'm saying
Repeat
is,
Mm-hmm.
the plaintiff and 3 defendants' witnesses testified.
No, it will not be correct because, as you know, in your studies, that the plaintiff usually testify for his own case. Then there are witnesses for the defendant. So when you talk about that, you are combining that it looks like they testified on the one side.
Okay, I'm getting the logic.
Yeah. So they testified. The plaintiff testified. The plaintiff testified, and then the defendant, 3 witnesses. Yeah, what I've said, the 8 words. No. So that you can separate between the testifying of the plaintiff and testifying of the defendant. Are you together?
Yes, we are together.
So, looking at Nicole's answer, the first part is what you have said. It's not that the sentence lacks clarity. It is clear the way it is. It is just that it's very wrong. And we are supposed to use active voice. Yeah, and then now you say that the plaintiff and defendant 3 witnesses testified. So you cannot combine the plaintiff and the defendant 3 witnesses. The plaintiff testified, and then the defendant's 3 witnesses. The plaintiff testified, and then defendant 3 witnesses. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It can come even 9 words. The plaintiff testified, and then defendant 3 witnesses testified. Yeah, so that is the answer. We are together, Nicole.
Yes, we are.
You are getting the gist, the logic.
Yeah.
Now you see practically at this point now you can see why you have not been because this question on question 3 is it comes even in every exams. So these are like question 1 and 2. Question 3 is very highly likely to be repeated. So when you see your answers, you get why you have not been getting passing. So I expect you to improve as we continue. Yeah. So D, no termination will be approved unless the administrator reviews the application and finds that it's not lacking any requisite materials. So Wakiaga, what is wrong with the sentence? And you try to rewrite it.
One of the principles that is violated here is that we are told that when we are doing plain English, we don't put a precondition, like the word unless. We try to construct a sentence without putting a precondition. And then we can also, no termination was approved. And then we also avoid the use of negatives. Like the word here, no termination will be approved unless we can get away of constructing that sentence in a positive form.
Very
I'm
good.
trying to
That is
think of how,
so.
I'm
So
trying to
that is
think
a,
of how to put it. Yes.
so that is a correct answer. You avoid this and so you put positive in the book. So you can try to now construct.
Let me try to construct it. Just 1 minute. I read it again, then I try to construct it.
You can also be doing the same, Diana. You write your answer, then you I give you like 2 minutes.
I can try it.
Yeah, you can try. 2 minutes are over.
Yeah, my answer would be very simple. The administrator will approve terminations with requisite materials.
Repeat again.
The administrator will approve terminations with requisite materials.
Yeah.
I hope I've not left
You can
anything
even
serious out.
you say you supported with the requisite materials. The
Yes, all
administrator,
supported with requisite. The administrator will approve terminations supported with requisite materials. I think that is better.
yeah, because the termination application must be supported with the requisite materials. How many words are there? When you add supported.
There are 9. There are 9.
1, 2, 3,
The
4, 5,
administrator will
6,
approve terminations supported with requisite materials. Those are 9.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So from 21 words, we have come to 9. So more than half. So that is very correct. You avoid the negativity. So our last question of Nicole answer. You have said you avoid the negativity, and the answer is very wrong. The sentence is very wrong. That was the first part. Yeah, and you have said the answer, as Wakiaga have said. So this was not correct. Both of them are not correct. But you improve with the time. So the last question for the day, and this is going to go to Diana. The fact that the defendant was blind may have influenced the credibility of defendant's testimony.
Okay.
So
I'll
Diana,
tend to
what's wrong? Yeah.
The problem with this question is that the sentence is lengthy and it's written in passive voice. So
Correct.
how
Correct. So now
how
you
I'll-
put it.
Mhm.
So
How
now
I'll
that
put
is
it,
correct. Yeah, put it now. You can write.
Okay, I've written it down and
Mhm.
I've shortened it from 16 words to 11. Is it still lengthy?
These are 16 words. You read you here?
My answer is the defendant's blindness may have influenced the credibility of his testimony.
So you have avoided the fact that you say the defendant blindness may have influenced the credibility of his
testimony.
That is correct.
And I have just one observation.
Yes.
When you use the term his, we are also told us to use gender neutral language. So I would replace that his with their.
There? Yeah.
Their
There.
testimony.
Their testimony, yeah. Use gender neutral language, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So you use gender neutral language. So not adhering, I'm looking at Nicole's answer, not adhering to plain English. That's what they have said. First of all, it's long and also it's in passive, not active. The defendant blindness may have influenced the credibility of the testimony. Also, it's correct.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, I think that answer is even more better than what we've just said.
Yeah, the defendant blindness may have influenced the credibility of the testimony. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you shorten from 11 to 16.
From 16 to 11.
16 to 11. Are you getting Nicole?
Yeah, yes, I am.
Yeah, so we have like 7 minutes to end our class. So I want you to draft, to do question 5, 6, and 7. Diana and Wakiaga.
Yes.
Noted, Mwalimu.
That is
So you
noted.
do-
And this time around, I'm going to send you my work.
Yeah,
True.
because that, and don't look anywhere. And you time yourself. Unaona?
That's right.
As if you are in a exam, time yourself, don't look anywhere, then you send you scan and send,
Yes, that's right.
And then we are going to, our next class is on Friday. Yeah, our next class is on Friday. Do question 4, 5, and 6. Send in advance. We are going to look at them, because when you do practically, you can, it becomes, you know where you are and you are going to as we continue, you are going to build confidence and more confidence and more confidence, because you are going to know where you are not doing well.